Hmm. Hmm. Hello. Um, it came to my attention that there was a male Vtuber who wrote something on Twitter that a lot of people are looking at as an incel rant, and I do not agree with that interpretation of his words. And if I'm wrong, that's fine, because at the moment, for this particular video, I feel like talking about my feelings when it comes to what I see how men are treated. Now, I'm not going to do much editing with this video, I don't think, since this is, I think the video style would be more of myself just talking about how I feel, trying to get everything that I feel out, and hopefully with the hopes that somebody heals, which is what I feel the guy, the male VTuber, may have been doing. It's very possible that he also was doing it to rage bait as well. That's always a possibility, but regardless, after watching a video of another VTuber talking about it, ranting about what was said, it had made me sad to see the interpretation of how people feel when a man chooses to express his feelings about his place in the world. So that might be the first place to start. When it comes to men, I am expected. Oh, as a man, I am expected to sign up for the selective service, which, if you do not know what that means, the selective service is the draft, or to be, excuse me, the selective service is what every man has to sign up for when he becomes 18 in the United States of America, or sooner. And when you sign up for it, it makes it so that you are entitled to certain benefits, which I don't truly know if I have actually enjoyed any of these so-called benefits. But the other thing is, well, I say entitled. That's probably the wrong word to use. It's more being eligible for the thing. So that might be the better way to describe it, is that by signing up for it, it makes it so that you are eligible for certain benefits. And you can also get punished if you choose not to. But as I said, signing up for selective service is giving the United States government permission to be able to select you if war happens. And well, I am expected to do that, which I have. And but along with that, that also means that I am expected to die for the country. But am I worth more than just a body that can take bullets? Is there more to my worth as a man than taking bullets for somebody who may be able to use me as a shield or just use me as cannon fodder? I I wonder if men are looked at as more than just a body that can be used to provide goods and services and to pay taxes for whatever country we live in. Now, as I said, I live in the United States, so when it comes to equality type things, regardless of what some of the crazy people will say, equality is actually pretty good for the most part between men and women and different ethnic backgrounds of people. But the one thing that has all men in common, like I said, is that we are expected to die for the country if there is ever a war. Along with being expected to die for the country, men don't have much help when it comes to doing things, or no, the better way to say it, men don't have organizations. They don't have grants or government services to help men to, well, basically just to be normal, or when bad things happen. I have sadly suffered domestic abuse by my younger sister. And it has happened several times. And many times the police have came and they did nothing. They didn't do anything. I have been punched in the face by my sister. My fingers, a finger of mine, became broken because she was so angry that when I went to go outside to get away from her, she slammed herself into the door, and my hand got caught, and I have a scar that will forever remind me of the hatred my sister had for me, by throwing her whole body into the door, which is why my hand became, which is why my finger in the scar happened. But when I talked to the officer, when I found a way to get to the hospital, the officer never did a follow up at where I lived. He never came to the house, to the trailer, to ask questions of what had happened. He completely disregarded what had happened, and he had seen how bad my hand was, my broken my broken finger, and my mangled palm from the door being slammed on it with my sister's whole body. And yet, at the same time, my dad was there, and he didn't do anything. Because when it comes to the problem of men not being treated like humans, um, men, other men do exactly the same thing. I understand that sons and daughters will be treated differently. I expected that when I was a kid and when I was living with my dad. But oftentimes, I saw my sister getting away with so much more, so much more, and things that are definitely illegal, but not just illegal, but are harmful to her health. And I was never interested in doing those things, so there wasn't too much of a problem with that. Then there was also the fact that he was much more comfortable with actually beating me. I still remember one time he was beating me and he flipped me over the arm of the couch and he was beating my head, and I asked him to stop, but he said that he would not stop until I was dead. Obviously, I'm not. It didn't get that far, but it has always been acceptable. It's always been an acceptable thing for sons to be beaten. It's always been acceptable for horrific bodily injuries to happen to men. Many men are in jobs that are extremely dangerous. And at least here in America, and with some of the old statistics that I had seen, so I do not know any of the updated statistics, but with some of the old statistics that I had seen a long while ago, excuse me, about from the statistics that I had seen, about 5,000 men die by job related things every year in the United States. I mean, yeah, about 5,000 people die from job related things every year. About 90% of those people are men. There does not seem to be anything being done to help lessen the number of men who die every year from these dangerous jobs that men do. It goes back to men just being a thing to use to make money, to pay taxes, to just be used. And along with that, it also doesn't make it feel like it's very different than a man is just another body that can be filled with bullets in war. Now, one of the other things that, one of the main things that the particular VTuber was talking about in his um, Twitter rant or long thing, I'm not for sure how to say it. He was a bit upset that maybe he has not been able to date anybody. And the reason why he is upset is because of the standards women have. And simply because he was expressing his feelings about the standards women have, he was labeled as an incel, which, if you don't know, that word means that he is involuntary celibate, which, if you don't know what that means, because that's kind of a well, not a, well, it's a common way to describe it, but not a very natural way to describe what it is. But the more simple way to describe what that is, he is somebody that wants to have sex one day and he has been unsuccessful with his endeavors to do so, which is fine. Many men are like that. And, well, like I said, many men are like that. And what has happened is that there are many men who have chosen to gather together in the collective hatred they have for not being able to have sex with a woman. But at the same time, not everybody who would fit the description of an incel is is somebody who is a part of those groups. There are many men and even women who fall into the category of being involuntary celibate, being incels, that are not part of hateful groups that are wanting to do things to wanting to do evil things to um, people. They just simply fit the definition of the world. And so one of the things that I feel that had happened with people reading his Twitter post is a lot of people instantly labeled him an incel, which the label may fit, but they did not they did not distinguish himself as an individual. Instead, they took his words as being part of a incel group. Or in other words, because they labeled him an incel, they also decided to believe he is associated with all the bad baggage that comes along with the world incel that it has gained from the bad groups. Excuse me. And I do not think that is a good or healthy thing to do, because not everybody who fits into a category or can be described with a certain label means that they are part of a that group as far as its um actually I don't know quite how to describe it. Just because he you can label him an incel does not mean that he is a part of any incel group. He very well is just a normal man who is just having who is just venting his frustrations with the expectations that women have nowadays. Now, when it comes to the expectation of women, I do agree they need to have some sort of expectations because they are women and they will maybe one day start a family with somebody, with a man, hopefully a good one. And so if they have too low or bad expectations, they may end up getting themselves into a situation. And then there's the other where if they have too high expectations, they just won't find anybody at all. And to an extent, women do and should have higher expectations than men do, but his frustration wasn't with that women should just naturally have a higher expectation than men do. It's that the expectation that women have today are not just simply a bit higher than men, they are unrealistic. you can find many man on the street type videos, or even podcast type things like the Whatever podcast, which regularly has women who are successful in the adult, in the amateur adult industry, I should say. But many normal women and many successful women have expectations that are too high. It's more understandable for a woman who is making a lot of money, who is of a higher status than most men, to have maybe an expectation that could be out of the league of most men, because she is already out of the league of most men. So she wants somebody who is definitely better than she is. And I can definitely agree that it makes sense for a woman to want a man who is better than she is. But the answers you get from many normal women who you just find on the street are that they want a man who is extremely rich. They want a man who makes six figures. And they want a man who is 6 feet tall or, or higher. They do not show interest in a man who is doing labor work, trades work, like drywall and painting, carpentry, electrician, plumbing, which those jobs, if you're doing them at a professional level, they pay quite a bit. And they are very attainable jobs for a lot of men. But they don't believe these men are good catches. I mean, there's a reason why there is the meme of going to Home Depot or some home improvement store to find a man. Because, well, if they're a professional and not a hobbyist, they make some decent money and they tend to be good men. I had helped my dad do drywall and painting for many, many years, and I've met contractors, other contractors, and all of them are good married men. But yet, none of them, I think, was 6 feet, and I don't know if they made six figures, but I know that doing trades work is definitely a good paying job. But women have unrealistic standards of wanting men who are, and I know that not every woman is like that, but when you go to places like a dating site, um, those are the kind of women that are there. And with the way things have been, going onto a dating site seems to be the only acceptable way for a man to meet women. Because if you try to go outside and talk to women, as many detractors will say, you run the risk of being charged with harassment when you are not harassing, just saying hello to somebody you find pretty, and things like that. And then there are other things that makes it hard for there are other things related that makes it hard for men to um, approach women. There are many men who have been punished for simply helping a woman. There have been many times where a man had stepped up and had decided to, where a man has stepped up to protect a woman, and afterwards he got charged with harassment when all he did was pull the man, the other person away, maybe shove them to get them to go so that she isn't being attacked anymore. And there are also times where a woman will assault the man who decided to protect, um, who put his life on the line to possibly connect to protect, and then if she doesn't do anything legal, then the state might. There was, if you didn't know, some time ago there was a crazy man, a known crazy man, on the New York subway. And this crazy man was threatening to kill people. So a brave man decided to take a chance, and he restrained the crazy man. And sadly, the man ended up dying, but he decided to he decided to try to protect everybody. And yet now he is, as far as I know, he was eventually arrested, and I do not remember if he was if he was incarcerated or not, but he was punished for trying to help. And there were other cases too, where I remember a long while ago I read an article of a man who was helping a child find her mother or father, who, a parent. And after he found, after they ended up finding the father, he was punched. And yeah, I feel better now that I have, excuse me, I feel better now that I have finally put these feelings out into the open. Like I said, I don't know how much kind of editing I'm going to do because I'm afraid that I will interrupt when I am trying. I will interrupt what I'm trying to do. Either way, um, sorry. Either way, I I feel that since I am a man, I am seen as worthless. I am seen as a tool to be used for profit, to make something. I feel that the expectations put upon men are not balanced by other things that are given to men. Like I said, I and every other man in the United States are expected to die for the country if war happens. But yet, I don't really get any kind of guarantee for that, and women are not subjected to that. I know that there have been I know that there had been pushes to try to include women within the selective service draft, but I don't think any have passed. Um, yeah, I don't think any has passed. The legislator, I don't think any kind of law like that has passed yet within my country. So until then, I feel that it is unequal. There are other things that could be talked about when it comes to the difference in men and women, but those particular things are not my concern at the moment. My concern with wanting to talk about this subject of how men are treated ex- with the how men are treated with attention to incel is because men men how do I say it? Men are treated as dirt, as the guy said. Um, I don't really know what else I want to say. There's a good chance that after I'm done recording this and I start trying to put something behind me, I may think of something else and maybe I'll add it. I don't know. Oh, no. Well, no. I don't think there's anything more. So with that, I will say I hope that you liked my rambling and that you can understand that I'm not part of any sort of incel group or even any sort of men's rights group or anything like that. This is the things that I feel as a man within the United States. This is the way that I feel that men have been treated in the United States and other places around the world. And so, with that, like, and so, since I'm doing this off the cuff, I'm having a bit of trouble with my flow and whatnot. So, with that, I hope that you like what you see, and if you do want more videos where I am just word vomiting what I am feeling on a particular subject, I can do more of these kinds of videos, but you will have to tell me in the comments that you want another video like this on something, and I will eventually probably do that. But if you want more videos like this where I am just vomiting what is in my head out into the ether, then I will do so. I do believe that these are the kind of videos that I am best at doing when I have something that has been nagging me for a while and then I just vomit what I have. But I need to stop stalling and just end. So, thank you for watching. Um, yes. Oh, goodness. Excuse me. Thank you for watching. And if you like what you see, then give it a like. And obviously, if you dislike what you see, then give it a dislike. But if you give it a dislike, I do hope that you will leave me a comment telling me what I should do better, or even if you just simply didn't like what I said. I mean, it all helps regardless. And so, with that, regardless of the time of day that it is for you, either that being noon, morning, or night, I hope that you are having a good time. With that, I bid you adieu.